And welcome back to Mixed Media Live. We are back for another week. This week's going to be a little bit different because, as you can see, there's only two of us. But we'll have a little bit of fun with pretty much just hot takes for this entire session. So sit back, relax. If you've got a few things to add here and there, you are more than welcome, as today's show is likely to be a little shorter than usual. Well, not to say short at all, but this podcast happens every week at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and what we do is we talk everything art related, whether it's about film, gaming, music, which are the things that we're particularly interested in, but all the things that have to do with those: pop culture, news, reviews, philosophical conversations, practical tips. Pretty much anything you could possibly think of. We talk about it because, you could say it's a lack of focus, but I think it's because we're interested in a lot of things. So yeah, that's who we are. So without further ado, we'll introduce ourselves. My name is Irving Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur.
And I'm Nathan Nestor, and I'm a 3D modeler and game developer.
And our third is usually Ben Costello. He is actually apparently doing an audition soon, so good luck to him. And I guess how was your week? That's usually the first thing we start with.
It was fine. Nothing particularly interesting, I guess, this week. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think our camera is lagging like crazy. Wait.
Oh yeah! Wow, that's impressive.
Okay. I put a blur effect on the background. Let's turn that off. Absolutely destroyed anything good going on here. Let's see if that fixed it. Yeah, we're good.
Oh yeah, that looks good now. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, for me, today if you see a band-aid on my finger, I idiotically slammed my car door on my own finger. It was pretty bad. But it's just one of those days. Makes typing a little challenging, but we'll make do. Some cool news before I go to some negative news. Some cool news is I've been working on a shoot for the fall. I think I've mentioned this many times on the channel the past few weeks, because this region is so beautiful. I want to canvas it as the leaves change and all that kind of stuff. But I've been contacting different locations to see if they'd give me special access, to shoot some of the cool stuff happening over there. And there's actually a regional airport nearby that I called. I thought it was going to be the hardest for them to say yes. And they were so enthusiastic. The plan was for me to go maybe during golden hour and basically just shoot planes landing and taking off in the beautiful fall golden hour. Basically, that was it. I was just going to spend an hour or two just sitting there shooting planes. Basically, it was going to be very simple. Guy calls me back. He's the airport manager. Shout out to him. And he says, "Well, actually, would you like to be in an airplane and shoot some stuff?" And I was like, "What?"
Oh. Interesting.
And then he was just like, and also,
but airport manager, he doesn't own an airline, right? How small is the airport?
It's medium sized. It's a regional airport. Apparently has the fourth longest runway in Pennsylvania, but it doesn't have
it must be taking big planes, I assume.
Well, it takes military aircraft land there and take off there all the time, apparently. So, there's that activity happening. There's not so much like Boeing 747s landing there or anything like that. It's mostly a large amount of small craft, is my understanding after talking to him. So, like corporate jets, private chartered flights basically land there a lot. Here's the plot twist. So he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, the military's here every day." And you know me, I'm kind of a military aviation nerd. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll get to tape those. Apparently I'll also be able to be in the plane in some small aircraft, potentially
Wait,
shooting the
what kind
leaves
of a
from
small
above.
aircraft?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know what aircraft. He didn't say. He has a tour aircraft apparently that
Hmm,
sometimes he gives tours from. So I guess I'll be going up in that. That's pretty cool. Um,
nice.
and the biggest plot twist out of them all, the plot twist to end them all, was that he said, actually, you could fly one.
That is interesting. Maybe it's like a propeller plane, and it's like by flying he means let you hold the stick for a moment.
Well, alternatively, it could be a two-seat training aircraft where, like,
Oh,
there are two
right, right.
yokes, basically. Duplicate
Is that
controls, you
legal?
know.
Can you like you don't know like some like trainings like before you do a driver's license or before you get your driver's license or your permit rather you need to take a test at least in New Jersey.
I hope I'm not outing my airport manager friend, but I'll take it. That's pretty cool. I think conceptually it's pretty cool. I don't know if like once I get in the aircraft I'll be like, wow.
Yeah.
I actually have to fly this thing. Now I have a sim pilot, but that means nothing in this context, both for practical reasons, but also because the airplanes are completely and utterly different. So,
Right.
there's basically zero similarity. So I'm going to be doing that in a few weeks, and super hyped. I mean, come on, the footage is going to be supreme. I haven't dropped footage in a long time, so if you want to see what I put out, you can check out my YouTube channel. If you
Are you
just
gonna
search art.
bring
Oh, go ahead.
are you gonna bring your like big camera in there? Will there be like space? How's it gonna work?
I don't really know. I'm going to bring all three of my cameras. Luckily, they're all like gradation of size, so like you
Okay.
know, I'll try to see if I can bring my cinema camera in there. If I can't, I'll try to bring my DSLR or I guess mirrorless camera that I'm filming on right now in there, or I will bring my worst case scenario, my 360 action cam in there. Regardless, it'll be nice. It'll be cool.
Okay. Well,
um,
just for some update on whether you added your manager or not, I looked it up, and in Pennsylvania at least, there are no requirements to fly a plane at least with an instructor. So, because I'm looking at this page for like a flight school, and it says take a first flight, cost about $200 for a 1 hour intro depending on the flight school, time required an hour or two, and then you take a ride with the instructor. So.
nice. Well, that's pretty cool. uh,
Mhm.
Pennsylvania just does not disappoint over and over again. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So, so
I'm sure I know, and so makes more sense at least because they don't do it with the cars. I don't know how it works in Pennsylvania, but at least in New Jersey, you need to do a written test before you can actually. I think you need to do a written test before you can actually get into a car with an instructor. But the thing is, I feel like actually, it might be more deadly to be in a car alone because there are other cars around you that are also doing by. Whereas a plane, I mean, once the pilot, I assume he's going to take you off. You don't take off yourself. Once he takes you off and you go really high, I mean, I feel like it's really hard to like mess up that easily.
well,
Okay, you could, right? Let's say you yank the stick. You yank the stick in one direction, right? And maybe you over G the aircraft, and who knows, the wings might fall off. Okay, but hopefully, I would hope that they have some restriction on that, how much you can actually turn, in the being in the what do you call it, the instructee seat. And most people wouldn't want to do that. So it's like the same as if you have a person who took the written test in your car as an instructor. I mean, you can't stop them from like plowing into a random building, right? You just assume they're not going to. So
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's actually safer.
Well, so like, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure about the safety aspect of it. All I know is that if they do it, that probably means that it's probably safe enough.
Yeah.
So in theory, I'm excited, but if I probably think about it too much, I'll probably freak out a little bit. But it'll be great. It'll happen. The only other bit of personal news I have is Oh yeah, I've been making a lot of money off the stock market coming down. um, you know, I feel like I brag a little bit, but like I mean, it's been working for me pretty well so far. Just kind of looking at reality and responding to it, and being like, these Wall Street fools will not respond to reality, so let me account for that and make money off of them. And so there are people who literally their 9 to 5 job, or in most cases like 8 to 8 job, is is sitting there and staring at reports and numbers and crunching them and trying to beat the market's average of 10% year over year. I am crushing these fools, doing a lot less. Well, I guess I do a lot of research, but I in general, not economic.
Presumably not as much as an 8 to 8. I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly. Regardless of the amount of stuff I ingest, it's not the same amount as an 8 to 8 job. And what am I doing right now? I'm just buying puts against the market. Just literally, just as the market falls, I make money. And here you heard it here first. I've been right a lot of times. Here's me right again. It's going to get a lot worse. This is just the beginning, not even close. Like, so if you want to put the market now, like you're gonna start losing your entry time to start your puts against the market, or else those puts are gonna start to get too overpriced. So you gotta jump in. Not financial advice. Don't sue me, bro. But like, do your own research, and you might want to consider putting against the market. As I have, I've made what, like $1,500 in like a week. So I highly recommend it. If that, well, okay, let me put it in terms of percent because that's even more impressive. Something like 120% return. So, yeah. Like,
so the expected, so the market average would be 110% return.
No,
Is that how that works? No.
10%.
Wait. Oh, you mean? Okay, I understand. I think you're talking about 120% of what you put in. You really mean like 210% or 220% of what you put in is what you got.
Yeah, yeah. The sum
You got double
total.
plus a little bit. Is that
Yeah.
what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see. So, okay, that's a big difference then. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you're saying you
exactly.
got an extra 20% on top of, Okay, I understand.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, oh, and if you want to pick a particular moment to pivot, same thing as last year. I was right last year. The time frame is going to be the same exact thing this year, people. After the holiday season, death, absolute wreckage in the economy. There's going to be one mini death before then. It's going to be after the midterm elections. There's going to be a mini death because the Federal Reserve will spike. Don't want to ask me why the Federal Reserve will spike right after the midterms. You got to hit me up on Discord. You got to go to Discord and send me a DM, and then I'll be happy to chat with you about why I know these things. It's actually quite simple to know these things. Federal Reserve, inflation's really high. We've discussed that. I've been right about that. And what do they need to do? They need to increase interest rates in order to bring inflation down. They have not even been close to raising interest rates enough, even though they pretend, oh, I mean, this might be just enough. We're just going to thread the needle. They already know. They're liars. We established that on the show as well. They already know that inflation is so bad that their increases in rates have been not nearly enough because they don't want to crash the economy. They're afraid of the bad press. So they're going to have to crash the economy eventually, or else the dollar ends. And that's a way worse outcome for those in power and everyone, frankly. But the dollar ends if they don't fix it rather quickly. And in the other alternative universe, they crash the economy. So they're going to crash the economy. That's the better solution. And they'll do it after the midterms. That'll lead to a mini death. And then after the holiday season, it's going to be unreal. So put cash in save money, people. Like, if you're not saving money so that you can at least survive, but like secondarily, like you can buy at the bottom, right? Like buy at the bottom so that you're getting assets at a cheap price, and you're doing it wrong. Okay, so that's my
Wait. Isn't it a bad idea to buy things to save during inflationary periods? Or it's not a bad idea, I guess, to save in general. But like, it's not that you'd rather save more And you know what I'm saying? Okay.
Yes and no. So, excuse me. Yes and no. So, um, saving is bad if you're intending to remain in cash. If you're intending to remain in cash, it's death. Um, Saving is good if you intend to buy assets at a low, because you have to take all the asset depreciation and mark that against the inflation. So, like, as the asset comes down, your buying power goes up by you saving money. If that makes sense. So it depends on the use of how you're going to use your money. I would recommend not storing your like a lot of cash just in cash. I would recommend at the very least, putting it into some sort of safe investment. Even if it's a high interest savings account, you got to at least do that. Robinhood, 3%, 3%. That's not even close to inflation, but
Robinhood.
yeah, Robinhood's interesting, but not even close to inflation. But at least you're not getting your shirt taken off of you. Or if you do Gemini, you get 7% on backing Gemini coin, which is a lot riskier. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not a bad idea to get 7% on a small portion of your portfolio. And then putting the market with some of it might be a good idea as well, which I guess is sort of an investment. It's more like an anti-investment, but makes you money. And the rest of it, just save so that when the market crashes, hopefully all your expenses are taken care of, you buy at the bottom, and you become rich. Supposedly. # not financial advice.
Right.
So yeah, that's my economic spiel for today. How about news?
All right. So yeah, I covered gambling last time, right? I don't remember if this happened before or after last episode. Did I say that Twitch banned gambling?
Yes, you did. I think you said it. No, you said it on the Discord.
Oh, just in chat. Yeah, I didn't say. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, Twitch. Well, sorry, that's actually misleading. What I said, they banned some gambling. They banned like the purely luck-based gambling, so like roulette, slot machines, stuff like that. But like things that involve some level of skill, like sports betting, where you can obviously it's like certain teams you can make an educated guess who will win. Poker and stuff like that. Although I don't know, poker's I don't know. I don't know if that's really, but that's like the minimal gambling there. But if you're playing correctly, yeah, those kinds of things. They're still around, which has caused a lot of upset with some people. So certain people are like, "Wow, great, ban a lot of gambling gone." A lot of people are not quite happy with this because if you recall, if you weren't here, Too Long Didn't Read. There's a streamer named It's Slicker who did bad things about gambling, and that's why this is all happening. He was sports betting, which is incredibly ironic, and the fact that is not banned. There has been, Twitch currently has some deal with what is it? They have some deal with some sports betting thing. I can't remember what it is, but they have a deal with them, or I think it's Amazon that has a deal with them, and Amazon, of course, owns Twitch. So it's a bit of like a. It seems like a just a PR play potentially. How many people are actually playing slots on Twitch anyways? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people, but I don't know, man. Apparently, sports betting is where the money is anyways. A lot more than traditional casinos nowadays. So that happened. There was a lot of weird Twitch drama stuff that happened. Some streamers are definitely banished to the Shadow Realms and will not be showing back up for some time. Twitch also announced, like I think a day after the gambling announcement, or maybe 2 days, something like that they're cutting subscription revenue for streamers. So I think they said that the top, if you earn over 100K per year, I believe, from streaming, that instead of being a 70-30 split where the streamer gets 70% of the subscription money, you'll now be a 50-50 split. So you only get 50%. Perhaps to compensate for the fact that gambling is no longer allowed and a bunch of streamers can no longer do that on their stream. From what I also understand, Twitch is not very profitable to begin with. and they're kind of in the hole. And it seems like the higher ups are kind of on them to become profitable at some point, or at least become less unprofitable, or if they're profitable, become more profitable. Right. So yeah, that's the whole Twitch thing. A lot of people stated they might move over to YouTube. YouTube is getting a big probably the biggest bump I've ever seen in terms of streamers. We're deciding, either I'm going to start streaming on YouTube as well, do both, or I'm going to completely stream on YouTube. I don't know why people don't do both. Was it that hard to set it up for this podcast?
No, right. The YouTube and Twitch mirroring is the easiest part out of all the mirroring.
Right. I know. I'm sure some people are like, "Oh, but the chats are not going to be the same." I got to look at two chats, but we have this thing. I don't know how it works, but the chats
we have a
bot
to each other. that transfers all the chats to all the chats, so you can chat with anyone anywhere.
Yeah, people get to use their preferred platform. I don't know. I just see wins. Maybe I don't know. If you have a big channel, like you need more mods, or whatever, to I don't know, watch the chats. I don't know. How many do you need though?
A singular mod can have two chat windows open too.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that's You're gonna say something?
No, I'll go ahead.
Oh, I thought you inhaled to say something, but never mind. Oh, no. That's the Twitch and YouTube stuff. In other news, Video Game Donkey, the YouTuber, has announced that he's launching his own indie publishing game company called Big Mode, which I feel like is such a Video Game Donkey-esque name. Big Mode. It seems to be a joint effort between him and his wife. So yeah, that's what's going on. Or I don't know if she's his wife. Maybe she's just his girlfriend. I actually have no idea. Yeah. And aside from that, lastly, E3 apparently finally it will return after I don't know how long it's been. It's been many years of saying, yeah, I'll return. Everyone's like, nah, you're not going to return. It's over. And he's like, nah, we're going to return. And everyone's like, nah, no way. It's been way too long. But 2023, they'll be at Los Angeles Convention Center. It'll be June 13th to June 16th. So we'll see what happens, I guess. I don't know if there are too many details about it that are known at the moment, but I don't know anything about it. So yeah, that's all.
Cool. Interesting. So for me, I actually have a good amount of news this week because the movies were kind of in the pop culture world a lot these past few weeks. The first, the spiciest, being the Woman King controversy, which do you know about anything at all?
I was walking on at my college, and I passed a movie theater, and it said The Woman King. I was like, I never heard that in my life. And I just kept walking. So, no, I didn't really think anything of it.
Okay, so it's actually like a pretty big deal in the sort of, I guess, pop conversation realm. And then everyone will forget about it in 2 weeks, like the fish brains we are these days. But but basically the big deal is that The Woman King is a story about a group of female soldiers who, I can't remember the tribe's name, but were soldiers on the behalf of a certain tribe as a stopgap because the tribe was running out of soldiers in general to defend / attack.
This happened in Ghana?
That would be plausible.
I believe I might be aware of this story. I feel like I'm aware of something happening. Is it based on a true story, or is it just?
Yes,
fake?
It is based on. That is kind of the spice. Now, do you remember? Do you remember the reason for this?
Is it something about like a seat or something like that? They're trying to like a literal, there was some item that was taken or something. I don't remember. Something about a throne or I don't know.
Not as far as
I'm making things up, but I feel like I remember something like that.
Yeah, not as far as I know, but the controversy is basically that the movie is basically trying to take a sort of Afro-femme sort of vibe to it. It's trying to be African American women killing people, basically like Black Panther, part 3 or whatever. There's a Black Panther 2, I think, in production.
I think so. Yes.
That's the vibe.
Actually, continue. Okay. I was gonna say the lead actor died, right? So what happened? I don't know what that was like.
That's a whole other thing. I guess I could talk about that too. I forgot about that. But any case, that's the marketing of the film. That is the reason the film exists. Here's the funny part, though. That tribe And in that specific conflict against the Britons, against the British.
I think I found it. Sorry for interrupting, but the Ghana thing I'm thinking of, I don't know if this is the movie thing. It's called The War of the Golden Stool. It is a seat. It's a stool. Uh, that I think I don't know. It's like the British took it or something like that. I don't remember what it was. It's literally I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong here, but if I recall correctly, it's a literal stool that was golden that the British took for some reason, and they're like, what's up with that?" And I mean, I'm sure it's more complicated, and probably not just over a stool, but yeah. And then there were a bunch of female warriors, I think, or something like that. I don't know. Or I think I don't know actually, but yeah, something like that.
Well, I'm not familiar with that story, and I have no idea if it's related or not. But basically, so here's the controversy. Basically, the women soldiers in The Woman King are actually fighting to defend their slave trade.
Okay.
Guess what? Because guess what this story takes place in 1806, which is well
Right.
after the triangle trade has already ended.
Oh,
So
Wait.
Britain at this time is anti-slavery.
wait. So what? Wait, they're trying. Wait.
So
Wait. So wait.
so Britain is trying to, in the real story, in the real history, Britain is trying to stop. They're literally patrolling the waters of West Africa, stopping slaver ships from leaving Africa, basically. And
Okay.
this tribe was enslaving other Africans, right? Beginning
Okay.
the supply chain of chattel slavery, and and they were enslaving their enemy tribes, and they wanted to keep making money, sending slaves over to the Americas, where slavery was still legal, and Britain tried to stop them, and they fought them, and they lost miserably, by the way. So it's not even like a
No.
like. Like, I mean, like, when I say miserably, I mean like 4,000 tribal casualties to like 30 something,
Jeez.
yeah, or maybe it was France. I don't know. Whatever country they fought over this nonsense. They fought to save the slave trade, which is really awkward if you're having an Afro-femme movie trying to
Yeah.
heroize these people. And these people were responsible for slaving their fellow Africans and sending them to one of the worst fates you could possibly think of. So it's
Yikes.
big yikes.
Wait. So what? In the story, does it mention this, or what? Like.
So it apparently whitewashes it, funnily enough, in an ironic
Okay.
way, using that term, I guess, in a different way. It essentially whitewashes it because they basically, my understanding, again, I haven't seen the film, my understanding is that they basically say we kind of don't want slavery, but it's kind of something they were allowed to do, so we should be allowed to do it for the time being until we're allowed to sell palm oil instead. Which is a very
Interesting.
piss poor explanation.
I feel that's kind of disrespectful for like the British. Like I don't know. They stepped to their game and told you not to do it, and I don't know. It's some weird. I don't know. Like I understand it's just a movie, right? But I mean, I don't know. It feels like
Well,
disrespectful for the people
here's
actually
the
there.
thing. If it was, well, yeah, I agree with you. If it was just like a stupid, like, historical fiction sort of nonsense thing, and they didn't try to like play up the Afro-femme aspect of it, then it would be a lot less offensive. Still be offensive, but it'd be a lot less offensive than what it ended up being because they tried to take advantage of it and be like, look, this is so progressive for African Americans and women, and that was like their marketing. But then it's like, like, you can't ignore part of the history of that is like, these people enslaved other people, so that's kind of bad.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of funny roasts on Black Twitter if you want to check that out.
Okay.
Most black people are mad, basically, that this movie exists. And the actors, they don't have any excuse because Lupita, I forget her last name, Lupita, she's a great actress. She was in Us, and she's in other things. She's in 12 Years a Slave as well. Fantastic actress. One of the best. And she said, I'm not doing this movie because of the history involved. You know, she was the supposed to be the lead role. She turned it down of a big film because she didn't like the history of the film. So what's the other actor's excuses? Nonsense.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that's one piece of news. Second piece of news is that Avatar has re-released in IMAX. The original Avatar leading up to this has been a week or two now. This has been out in IMAX. And it made $30 million in its opening weekend, which is kind of measly compared to an opening weekend of a new movie. But for an old movie, for a really old movie, that is actually fantastic. Now think about the logic going on here. The movie exists on Blu-ray, DVD, streaming services, literally anywhere. You know, you can find a copy of this movie. But people actually went to pay money to go to a theater.
Wait.
IMAX special in this case. Pay money to see it on the big screen.
Wait, The Woman King made less.
Actually?
I don't know if this number's right.
Domestic or international?
Worldwide.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, wait, sorry. I made a little bit more. My bad. I was reading wrong. Would you say the number was 30? Just 30 million flat? It made 37 million worldwide.
Wow, that's a bad showing from The Woman King.
Wait. Actually, that's not first week. How long has it been out?
Avatar?
No, The Woman King. Is it like new? Like yesterday? Or
I'm not sure when the release was, to be honest.
Because open weekend is less, or open weekend. Okay, just weekend, 2 days. Okay, I don't know what. How long? Let's see. It came out. Wikipedia should say. I have the page open. Where's the date? September 9th. Wait, this is really bad then. Wait, what? September 16th in the US. September 16th in the US. But it's still really bad because it's been 10 days in the US and longer elsewhere, and it's made just a little bit over. Also, it's not like it hasn't recouped the budget. The budget's 50 million.
Oh yeah. That's not. I mean, they might recoup the film budget by the end of it, but they might not recoup the marketing budget, which is pretty bad. So that's a big L.
It's production budget. What does that include? I don't know.
Everything except for marketing, pretty much.
Okay. Oh, so L. Okay, I see.
Yeah. So yeah. So 30. So but here's the QED of it all. Here's the proof. I've been saying theaters are special. You got to play up the aspect of theaters are the best. Avatar. By the way, this is a Disney W, and I don't want to give them props for this, but this is kind of done properly. I actually didn't even know, was Avatar originally Disney? Because I don't even remember it being. I wonder if they acquired the property. That's got to be what it is.
I have no idea.
I'll have to look that
Honestly,
up later.
I didn't know Avatar was Disney until you just said that.
Yeah. Actually, here I got it real quick. Oh, you know how they acquired it? 20th Century Fox.
Oh, right.
So they didn't even make this film, of course, because they can't make anything. But anyway, they acquired it. They re-released it in IMAX, and it made $30 million. Old movie, 2009, really old movie. Ahead of the new releases, guys. Cinema isn't dead. It's the companies that don't respect it anymore. Demand it. That is the point of this news article. And the last piece of news is Pinocchio was released on Disney Plus.
Horrible idea.
It is complete nightmare fuel when you look at it.
I really do not understand. Like, certainly, I don't know, dude. There's no way. Like, I haven't seen the trailer. I don't know anything about it, right? I can't imagine like these execs like bringing their children to see this thing, right? Like I don't know. It sounds weird.
It's a very bad idea. But it has been done without anyone's asking or consent.
Certainly, why don't they ask people what they want? Like they could do that, right?
They're not interested.
I don't understand. Like a simple marketing thing is just just like a survey or something. Like, do you want Pinocchio live action? No. Okay, moving on. It's like a big, yeah. Pinocchio is a big movie, but it's not like a big movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely like a well-known movie, like household name kind of thing, Pinocchio. But it's not like something like just because a household name doesn't mean everyone like loves it. You know?
yeah. Well,
So,
here's the thing though. What they're trying to do is they're trying to use the millennial adults to get to their children, so they can get their children on the Disney pipeline via these properties. They're
uh,
trying. You see what I'm saying? They're trying to.
you can at least like 3D animated though, right? At the very least.
That's
Like,
too
I feel like,
expensive, man. That's too much work.
is that more expensive than live action? I don't know. I mean,
I think it is. Well, minute per minute. They tend to be shorter, I guess. So there's that as well.
yeah.
But yeah. So yeah. So it has 27% of Rotten Tomatoes. Not that I use Rotten Tomatoes as any metric anymore because
Jeez.
lots of shenanigans on there. But 27% of Rotten Tomatoes, that ain't good at all. That's bad. And you watch the trailer and you understand completely why immediately. The 3D animation of the fantastic characters, like the cricket, the wolf, like those characters, they're not good. They just feel unfinished.
I gotta look up a video of this right now. I need to know.
Yeah, like their fur physics doesn't look quite right. Like it just looks unfinished to me. Pinocchio looks finished, but uncanny valley, so that doesn't help at all.
Let's see, Pinocchio trailer.
So I wonder what poor studio Disney went and bankrupted to make this film.
Hey, what does Lionsgate do exactly?
It's another production company. It's small.
Okay, because they have the trailer on their like YouTube channel. I don't know why.
Oh, maybe it was a co-production with Lionsgate.
So does Netflix actually.
Oh, really?
And Rotten Tomatoes. Everyone's on this apparently. And Disney, like, and IGN. What the heck? They just gave it to literally everybody.
I guess so.
Interesting. Let's see. Wait, it is animated. Wait, is it not animated? Wait.
No, it's like partially animated. You know what I mean? Like,
it's obviously it's Pinocchio. Right.
It's like Clifford animated,
Yeah. Okay. Just the things. Okay, I understand. Oh wow, that is something. That's kind of creepy.
Oh boy.
Oh, I feel like I can imagine being a kid and being scared of that.
Oh boy. Yeah, audience, you gotta look up the Pinocchio trailer. It's bad. You knew it was bad before. Exactly. Okay,
it feels creepy. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I would not even show it to my children. Not that I would have Disney Plus anyway, but it's definitely
only on Disney Plus. It didn't go to theaters.
Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it was just like basically the equivalent of straight to DVD these days. Where it went to.
There's no way they made that much money though, because at least with the DVD you sell the DVD, right? The subscription. Who's buying it just to see Pinocchio, or like who's gonna like?
That's probably probably the juiciest part of the deal is leasing it to other streaming services if that's what they ended up doing. I'm not sure.
How much are they gonna pay for it? Like $2? I don't know. It's a 20%, 7%. I think that's to be expected too. It's like not like a big surprise. I don't know.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Okay, that's it. Pretty big news week. More than usual, but that's what I've got for this week.
Mm-hmm.
Random side note. There's some random Alec Baldwin stuff happening, as there always is. Even though this story is really old at this point, somehow there's always something weird happening with that story. Apparently he's on the prosecution's suspect list now. I don't understand that, but I will update you again when the details become more clear.
Wasn't already a suspect?
No.
Okay. Okay. It's been like months, right?
Has it been over a year now?
It might be, and this dude no trial has started. Like, has it just been like what have they been like doing? Like twiddling their thumbs? I don't understand. What's next?
I have no idea.
It's so much paperwork, right? I don't know.
I have no clue. Okay. All right, that's it for the new segment. If you're watching right now live, welcome to the show. I know our numbers randomly fluctuate. Sometimes we have more people than others, but we love to see you in the chat. So if you could, just give us a few beeps here and there, that'd be cool. You can join the show. If you're listening to this in post, this is a live show at 9:30 p.m. Eastern every Friday. Today we're doing Argument with Reddit twice, but normally we have 3 separate unique segments that we film live, and you can stop in at any part during that and interact with us, and we're guaranteed to respond to your chat, and you can be part of the podcast, essentially. That being said, shout out to 2 very awesome people, 909 Crime and Rob Sharmas, for supporting us on Locals. You can join them at mixedmedia.locals.com if you enjoy the show. It helps us a lot, pays the bills. Check out mixedmediapodcast.com for any link to anything, including our Discord. That's what I'll have to say for that segment.
Yep.
Cool. So with that, we'll go over to Arguing with Reddit Gaming. I assume, because you're on top. So.
Okay.
Arguing with Reddit Gaming. All right, here we go.
Mixed Media Gaming.
All right, welcome to the Mixed Media Podcast Gaming segment. Today I'll be doing the Arguing with Reddit segment. As you can see, if you are not watching the live stream, Ben is not here today. So it'll just be us 2, and we're both doing Arguing with Reddit this time. So be on the lookout for Irving's episode coming next. I guess we should reintroduce ourselves for those who aren't part of the stream. So I'm Nathan Nestor. I'm a 3D modeler and game developer.
And I'm Irving Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur, and you can check out my company at ariella.co.
Right, and so we'll be doing Arguing with Reddit. So for new, what this means is we picked out a bunch of Reddit hot takes or Reddit opinions, whatever, that we found for each other. This one, and of course, by gaming in this segment, and we'll react to them live for the most part. I mean, I picked some for myself, so obviously those ones I saw. That being said, this time around, usually I kind of like look at it and think about it for a moment. I did not think about it. I was like, okay, cool. I don't even remember what I picked. So they're all pretty much all gonna be live reactions, pretty much. I think actually Ben picked one for me too. I saw, even though he's not here.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. He did pick one for me. But the first one I've got queued up is from yourself. So I'll pull it up. It says, and you can describe it. How did AAA game companies afford/justify having huge development teams?
Right. Okay. Yeah. This is something I've wondered before, right? Because people are expensive, especially in the U.S. People are very expensive, and games are relatively not that expensive. You sell a lot of units, but also a lot of developers. These dev teams can be massive somehow. I remember that Naughty Dog's employee account, I think it was, and I was like, there's no way they just make The Last of Us. I was like, why is it this many people? Not anything on The Last of Us, it's fine. I forgot news. The Last of Us trailer came out. This is to be a live action thing. Okay. Anyways, moving on. There's a few ways to cut costs, right? Obviously, one, if you have 500 employees, that does not mean they're all in the United States. If it's an American company, for example, so you get employees from other places, and you can basically be able to pay them less due to the buying power of the dollar here versus the buying power of the dollar there, and also differences in minimum wage laws. In some places, they might not even have minimum wage. So there's that for one. Although oftentimes when you're doing offshore stuff, it's just easier to not really hire them as a full-time employee, but rather contract it out, just because the legal stuff is a lot easier. You let the company you're contracting out deal with all the legal issues of whatever country they're in and stuff like that. They deal with all that. Obviously, you probably pay a overhead fee for that, but it's a lot more convenient. And aside from that, I think there's probably a lot of waste, to be quite honest, in AAA game studios. So I remember reading something like the most optimal, really reach, like, at least with programmers, excluding artists, whatever, programmers, they work, very much in conjunction with each other. Not that they'll necessarily be working on the same exact thing at the same time, but they're all working on various pieces of puzzles that intertwine they lock in very tightly. Unlike 2 artists who could be working on different models, and maybe they need to stay with a consistent style, but that's really just it, and they don't really it's not really if I'm making a character and I make the character slightly shorter, that might not really affect everything else. Everything else might be fine as it is. Where everything tweaks to code can oftentimes lead to cascading changes. So, yeah. So I remember reading once. I think that it's like you reach the Goldilocks zone of programmer group size when you reach six people. Then you get massive diminishing returns on efficiency. So, I mean, in these 500 employee companies, I don't know how many of them are programmers, but I'm sure more than six. Okay, I'm sure it's a lot of people. Now, you could say, well, this is maybe the study is more like six people for a task, right? So six people to, I don't know, make a website, right? And you have six people who work on this aspect of the game, and six people work on this aspect of the game, or whatever. And you compartmentalize it like that, maybe. But I have a good feeling that I'm actually not entirely sure how these things are set up, but it might be the case that they have large teams working on one general area, or not enough people working on it. So I mean, I'm not entirely sure how they're able to justify it, but they can apparently afford it. So at least somewhat. I mean, I guess studios go out of business all the time, so maybe if they're a bit more I don't know, frugal, is that the word? Frugal with their spending, then it wouldn't be. Is frugal the opposite, or yeah, that is like okay,
Yeah,
saving
it's like
money.
cheap.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, maybe a bit more frugal, it'd be fine. So yeah,
Cool. I have to say one thing though. Looking at this person's math, I think so. They're basically saying that look, it'll cost like
I didn't read the
so.
math by the way. I didn't
Yeah,
read the
if you look
entire
at
post.
it, I'll read it off real quick. So it says like 500 employees times $125,000 per employee times 5 years of development
Whoa. Okay.
equals 300 million. I'm like, all of that is way too
Okay.
much. All of it.
Yeah. Well, hold up. What is going on here? 125K per on average? What?
Yeah,
what,
that's not
what
happening.
dev studio is this? You
Like
get paid
it's not.
125K as like a senior developer on like at a game studio. It's not like an average salary.
Yeah, I mean, like, so the thing is, like, I think they're thinking of it too much like a software company when they should be thinking more like a film production company. It's like
Right.
you might, I don't know if the 500 employees is reasonable or not, but like on a film set, you might have 500 people touch a film. That wouldn't be out of the question. But they're not working on it not every one of those people is working on it for the entire 5 years. In fact, yeah, a lot of people working on it for the entire 5 years is probably like 10 people. You know, like
For reference, Naughty Dog has 316 employees. While you're talking, I'll try to find a 500 employee studio for reference. But keep going.
okay, yeah. So see that there you go. So even the amount of employees is bad, and then so you'd have to deduct the amount of years per employee for sure, and then the salary is just like whoa, that's not the average employee is not making that much money guaranteed. Your higher ups are making much more than that, and your bottom people are making much less than that. But there's a lot more bottom people than higher up people, so that number is going to be is going to have to go down. And my from what I remember you telling me or on the show before about game dev salaries, they're like lower than they should be. So I wouldn't be surprised if
Mm-hmm.
you know game dev.
125K is not. Yeah, that's not normal. I don't
Yeah.
think. Um. And okay, so I didn't know this, but Rockstar Games has 2.5K employees. I don't know what they're doing. They don't make game. Okay, they make games now, but there was like a long period of time where there were no games coming out from Rockstar. So I guess that's like in the works all the time. I don't know how
Well,
that's happening.
you got to figure they might have to have all their marketing done in house or something like that. So
That's true. A lot of these companies probably outsource a lot of their services to other things, whereas, well, Rockstar, for example, they have their own engine, right? At the very least, they have an engine team, which
yeah,
a lot of companies don't have.
yeah.
I'm sure Ubisoft is probably massive too because they have their own engine. I wonder how much these how many employees. Let's see, employee count. I wonder how many like the percentage that they have to dedicate to like engine stuff. So Ubisoft has. There's no way. What? Oh, because Ubisoft owns other companies. It has 20K employees working in 45 studios. Okay, that makes sense. But if you want a 500 employee studio, DICE is like 480.
Okay, so that's really unreasonable. Then on the money side, on the gain side, they're way off too. They say $30 per sale if you deduct like all the
If
expenses.
it's a DICE type studio, it's not $30 for sale. It's 60. Or I guess over what? How many years were you doing this over? Oh, first year?
Well,
Yeah, it's gonna be 60 first year.
well, they're saying that that they're deducting from the 60 like a whole bunch of fees that they think
Oh,
exist.
they'll make half that because of the platform costs, logistics, taxes,
No, that's
etc.
incorrect. That's definitely incorrect.
Platform takes 30% in general, so it's
Yeah.
only 20%. Logistics costs. So, well, you use a distribution thing like Steam. You're not paying much. You're
Yeah,
paying the
exactly.
30%. That is a massive portion of logistics costs. That is most of it. That's like 99% of it probably. Like what else is there?
Yeah.
Like your website to like give you the download link? I don't know. like,
No, yeah, this $30 is kind of ridiculous. Plus, they're not accounting for I guess power user sales. So like if it's pre-sales, they might make more money off of those, or if it's like premium things and like skins and all the extra stuff. That's why those extra stuff exist. So
right.
they're not accounting for that. And then they said 1 million sales for the first year. If you're a 500 employee studio, you're making way more than 1 million sales, I would suspect. Because, like, I mean, like 500 employees, like you said, Dice, right? Like Battlefield has way more than 1 million sales, guaranteed. I would bet money on that. So that's way lowballing it. So it's just these assumptions are just all wrong. That's why they came to this weird conclusion.
Right. Well, Battlefield 2042 sold. This is a poorly rated Battlefield, by the way. 4.2 million units.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this this example is just inaccurate.
Yeah, and note that for a long time, I think 2042 is on Steam now, but there was a time when Battlefield games were not on Steam, so they made all that money.
yes, for sure.
Although I guess they paid the logistics fees, I guess, but I mean, I'm feeling it probably outweighed the 30%.
Yeah. Next one is for Ben. And Ben is not here to explain it, so I suppose I will read it.
All right.
So let's see. It says, as the page loads, watching streamers is the stupidest thing you could do with your time. I like how there's no explanation. This post is deleted by the person who originally posted it. Oh, rip. Okay.
Oh.
But it had like 11.3k upvotes. So
I guess it was a bit too rowdy for the liking. I don't
know. You couldn't even fathom the stupidest thing I could do with my time. That's funny. Classic Reddit comment. I guess it's not much of an interesting debate here, but
yeah, I mean, watching streamers. Okay, listen to the irony here. This person is posting on r/unpopular opinion, telling us that it's stupid to waste your time watching streamers. All right, okay, dude. I mean, okay, so if you say watch streamers is stupid, I think you gotta say watching YouTube is probably fairly stupid. Although I would say, personally, watching YouTube is probably a better deal, given that with so much downtime in streams, it just kind of feels like, I don't know, I'd rather watch like YouTube highlights or something like that. Although I do understand the idea of passively watching streams in the background, which I think is what most people do with streams. They don't like, once something interesting's happening, they don't like just watch it like as their like primary like thing they're doing right now. It's just a background thing, right? So I mean, I don't think it's stupid. As someone who has spent a long time looking at Twitch and watching it burn this past week, I mean, as a point, I was like, dang, maybe I should just like do something else at the moment. This is like, I don't know. At some point, I feel like I'm no longer gaining much from it, But of course, it depends on what you're watching, of course, and how much you're watching and whatever, who you're watching. So, no, I would just say it's far from the stupidest thing you can do with your time, and also not very close to being that stupid to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I actually started watching way more streams recently, but they're not of gaming. They're like of like people talking. So like live like conversations, live interviews. They're really nice because you get audience engagement, but also like you get authenticity, like guaranteed. You know what I mean? Like you can't like edit people's words, So it's like,
yes, true.
It's unfiltered, so there's a sense of transparency. But my favorite streamer, shout out to Ricada Law. If you've been listening to the show long enough, you know that I love me some law. I read a lot of court decisions, keep track of a lot of court cases, and one of the most fun ways to do that and kind of degenerate ways to do that is watching Ricada's late night stream, which is full of hilarity. It is like 10% law, 90% like ridiculous. So it's just fun. It's just a fun comedy show. Essentially, it's like a late night. It's not a comedy show in the sense of like, SNL, but like, it's just the whole point is just to have fun together, and just be stupid on the internet, while also being a lawyer, if that makes sense, which is kind of a fun combination. So, so yeah, but it's not of gaming because I feel like for gaming, I'd rather just get a nice edited down version of things. So, yeah.
Yeah, same as, yeah, I guess only if I was watching it in the background, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. Cool, so that's that one. Let's see, let's see here. We'll do your next one then.
Okay, which one is... Oh, I see, okay.
Pulling it up now.
Alright, so it says, the title is, what are some top business challenges you face? And it's a short description. Quote, I'm curious what business problems game developers face. For example, creating effective marketing campaigns, getting the right talent, setting the right price for the game, etc. What questions, when answered, would improve your game dev business? Would love to hear your thoughts. Right. Fun fact. The first thing you mentioned was effective marketing campaigns. Last was setting the right price. Oftentimes, setting the right price is considered part of the marketing campaign. But yeah, because oftentimes the marketing team has a big level of influence on what the price actually is. But yeah, marketing is often like bigger than a lot of people think it is. It's not just advertising. It's a lot more than that. But anyways, first comment is once again, I didn't read this before, so I'll just consider while I read. Two things for me I can think of: marketing and building hype for your game. The second thing is designing something good enough to have a long tail sales and keep the lights on while you make your next game. Yeah, I think the most common thing I actually just looking down, skimming. Marketing is what everyone says. The issue is marketing is painful. See, I'm a connoisseur of marketing. I actually enjoy learning about marketing. Does not mean I enjoy doing marketing. It's actually one of my favorite. I took a class called Intro to Marketing over the summer, and it's probably one of my favorite classes I've ever taken. It's just interesting. But the act of actually doing these things, it's a lot of work. It's draining. It can be. It requires you to like put on a new hat that you haven't been wearing before, and you've probably never worn in your life. Well, you kind of have, because marketing, once again, encompasses many things, and you probably tried to convince someone to do something probably before, and you're essentially marketing something. You're saying, you should do this thing because there's some perceived value to it, and you're doing the same exact thing when you're trying to market your game. So you have some experience, but obviously it's not like it's not like it's like trying to play the piano when like you've learned to type. Like I guess your fingers can move in that way now, but you're not going to be able to play the piano very easily. So yeah, it's like a familiar action that is almost foreign still. But yeah, anyways, I'd say, I don't know, is marketing the hardest thing? It's the thing I don't do, right? I don't know if it's like, it's not an issue of I couldn't do it, it's more of like, maybe that makes it a challenge because there's no motivation to do it, right? But I'd say there's another challenge, big challenge is finishing that last like 2% of the game. And I guess some, excluding any sort of like last minute marketing from that, just production. I would say that's harder than marketing. Actually, even if I were, had the will to do both of those things and at equal will, I think I had an easier time doing marketing because part of it is because I actually enjoy the topic, and also because I feel like being clever in marketing is definitely useful. Like that's how you get that's how you get an edge over the other marketers, of course. But note that most people who do game dev don't know how to market at all. So if you just do something, you'll already be above everyone else. Whereas finishing your game, like it depends on the game. It could requires like think logically about things. For me, the issue I have is like programming and architecture. Like I'm like, oh, I planned out my game perfectly, right? And I started making it or whatever. And then at the end, it's like, wow, this code is not working the way I'd like it to work. Which makes, and then you want to refactor or whatever. It's like, I got to refactor everything. It's like, I'm almost done. So I really want to refactor everything. Not really. So, yeah, it's an issue I'm struggling with at the moment. Yeah, I say that the last bit of game development, whatever that happens to be, doesn't matter what it is. It's the hardest part.
Yeah.
I wonder, do you think there's a similar thing for movies? Like making movies, the hardest part is the last. Is that like a thing that it gets harder at the end?
So I feel like there's two like hard points. Like there's like the end, like coming up to the end of pre-production, and then coming up to the end of post-production. Because at the end of pre-production, like like you're getting to the no take backsies, like sort of portion where there's just all your preparation is just either good or not, and you're screwed. So last minute, everyone's like, I guess there's like a similar aspect of it where it's like, there's a problem in the script. Like you find it last minute, and it's like that's pretty bad. Like you have your whole budget and everything designed around something, and now you have to rework something. That's pretty bad. And at the very end, like the film is never finished until the deadline comes, always, because at least with a respectable film crew, because everyone involved is high stakes. Editor is like everything, every cut reflects me. Colorist is like every color on the screen reflects me. Soundtrack, all the people, and obviously, above all, the director and or producers. So they're not going to want the film to be done post-production ever, because when it's done, that means you can't do anything more to it. And so usually the phrase is it's done when the due date arrives, and you can't push it back any further. Yeah.
That is not how it works for game dev.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Oh, and I wanted to do a little plug for myself. If you need some marketing help, you can go to ariella.co, my company, and I can help you out with a plethora of digital media marketing stuff, particularly in the video space, ads, whatever you want. But I've also designed logos. I've done rebrands for people, so I can do a lot of different things. Okay. That's the end of my plug.
Nice.
Okay, so this next one is from me. So the question is, what features does a good inventory system have?
I saw this post actually when I was looking for posts.
That's interesting because I've interacted with a lot of inventory systems. I was like, what does make a good inventory system? And the description says, I'm building a drag and drop inventory system for survival style games. Sounds like DayZ. And plan on uploading it to the Unreal Engine marketplace. So far, the system has containers, a backpack, for example, that players can equip and store items in. Crafting is also readily implemented. What other features would be interesting or useful in an inventory system? Yeah.
Okay. So many different games implement inventories in many different ways, of course. Like DayZ, at least DayZ. I haven't said DayZ. I meant to say Arma 3. Which I guess by extension DayZ has the inventory system where it's like you can fit a certain it's like almost like a weight system where like each thing weighs a certain amount and you put it in your backpack and your backpack has a weight limit, which makes no sense, but that's fine. And it's kind of weird in a realistic game like that. Unturned has a nice system where essentially your backpack is represented as a grid, or your inventory is represented as a grid, and you can almost like a chessboard, you can imagine, and everything put in is like a chess piece, but the chess pieces are not all one by one. They're various sizes. Maybe like a bandage would be 1 by 1, but like a rifle will be very wide. Maybe it's like I'm putting a number out there like 7 by like 3 or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. So and you gotta like Tetris things in correctly or whatever to maximize space. And that seems to make more intuitive sense in terms of what you're actually doing. Representing it's still weird because a backpack is 3-dimensional, and you can when you're putting things in your backpack, you kind of like it's a more fine. You got to really like it's not like a grid-based Tetris system. It's like a very like granular. You can rotate things around. You know what I'm saying? Order matters, stuff like that. But obviously, I don't expect you to like duplicate that. So I don't know. I mean, I think it depends on the game, right? I think even though the armor thing is kind of weird, I think it works for the game. It's a quick way of using inventory, unlike Unturned, where if you have to think about like where things go, right, to maximize space, then it's gonna take a bit longer for you to put things in your inventory or whatever. If you want a quick, just drag and drop the thing into your backpack, it's in the backpack, you're done. Armor style is nice. If you want a more intentional type of placing things, I guess, then the Unturned style is fine. Now, the actual question I didn't answer was what other features would be interesting or useful in an inventory system. What I really like in inventory systems is, well, presumably in your survival game, like most, you have a primary and secondary slots where you can hold things or whatever. I like it when games allow you to Unturned has this. I think I forget how it works, but you can bind things in your inventory so you only have a primary and secondary slot, unlike something like Rust, for example, where I think you have like 10 slots or something. You press the number key and that's all the slots of your things you can pull out of your inventory. I think at least. With Unturned, you only have 2. But it's not that bad because you can still right click on things in your inventory or something like that and you press a number. And this lets you bind things to extra numbers. So essentially what I'm saying is being able to bind things in your inventory, regardless of whether they're in like a primary slot or whatever, to something you can pull out is very nice. I also, once again, understand for like, on a realism sake or whatever you want to say, or balancing sake, it's like, well, if your thing's in your backpack, you shouldn't be able to pull it out very quickly, right? You got to like stop and like look in your backpack and take it out and stuff like that, I guess. But add like a backpack like animation timer or something like that, where you press the button and it takes like a moment to like take it out of your backpack. Something like that. I don't know. Other useful features to an inventory. I think inventories tend to be very similar. If it's a list style thing, like Arma or like Skyrim or whatever, being able to sort probably by like, I don't know, some parameter like value or alphabetical order is probably a nice thing to be able to do, especially if inventories are very long. A lot of things like stackability, so that's a nice feature to have. I mean, if you're just selling this on the marketplace, I assume you probably don't want to like blow it up too much, but I do understand, wanting to provide features to make it more enticing. So, yeah.
Cool. Sweet. Did we do all 4 of them? Is that it?
I think so.
Awesome. Well, you want to take us out then?
All right, well, that's been the Mixed Media Gaming Arguing with Reddit segment. Thanks for watching. Make sure, if you want to continue the talk, if you have any responses to my hot takes, any disagreements or agreements, make sure you go to our Discord, join our Discord server. That's the best way to get into immediate contact with us. You can get that at, what's the link? mixedmediapodcast.com, where you'll find the link to everything, including the Discord invite link. And with that, I guess we'll be transitioning to the Arguing with Reddit segment for movies. So, yeah. Oh, I'm on the bottom. Thanks for watching.
Bye. All right. Unfortunately, the template's kind of odd because Ben isn't here, so it looks kind of weird. But here's the template, and we're going to do Arguing with Reddit for movies. So here we go.
Mixed Media Movies.
And welcome back to Mixed Media. If you've been here live, thanks for sticking around, and definitely comment maybe some of your hot takes in regards to movies and stuff like that, and I'll respond to it. But we're here every Monday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time live. You can check out mixedmediapodcast.com to join us. Find links to Twitch, Rumble, YouTube, and Discord where we broadcast the audio only. With that being said, this is our Arguing with Reddit segment where I react to hot takes from, Reddit, or it could be from anywhere, but usually it's from Reddit. And my co-hosts, or in this case, co-host, has found a interesting take on Reddit for me to react to. I've never seen it before. Excuse me. And I found a few for myself as well for me to react to as well. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I guess we'll reintroduce ourselves. So my name is Irving Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur, and I own a company called Ariella.
And I'm Nathan Nestor. I'm a 3D modeler and game developer.
Cool. Yeah, let's just hop into it. So I'm just going to pick one of my own first out of interest of balance. And let's see what it is. I actually don't remember mine either. Like, I don't remember what I picked. So I did look at one of them more in detail, but I don't remember what it is. So let's see. Load. Okay, there we go. Oh, okay, here's an interesting. This is a simple one. What are your top 10 acting performances of all time? That is pretty straightforward. And I actually just want to. I couldn't. I'm really bad with naming favorite anything on the spot. I'm like, oh man. Like,
I'm noticing some familiar names that you like on this list.
Yes. So instead, I want to react to the list instead of coming up with my own top 10 because that would take me a billion years. So let's see. Number 1, we've got Daniel Day-Lewis and There Will Be Blood. My probably favorite movie of all time. Don't say that lightly. I've come to that conclusion very slowly over time. And Daniel Day-Lewis's performance in that. I've seen Daniel Day-Lewis in Lincoln. I've seen pieces of his performances in other movies. I've probably seen another full movie of his. I can't remember off the top of my head. And, well, obviously he's one of the most legendary actors of all time. Just incredible. But, come on. There Will Be Blood. The performance in There Will Be Blood is peak Daniel Day-Lewis to me. And the thing is, I think the film style complements the acting. It really showcases the acting. It puts you right in front of your face. You get a lot of key moments with close-ups. You got a lot of key moments with wides where his body language, his overall body language, has to be on point. And he just, man, his character of Daniel Plainview is legendary in that movie. Denzel Washington in Training Day. I've seen clips from that movie. I feel like I've seen bits of that movie on TV, but I don't remember that much from it. I wouldn't be number 2. I don't know. Who knows? But Denzel Washington's amazing, so I'm not gonna say that's impossible at all.
By the way, I haven't seen any of these movies on this list, so I have no comments.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm aware of these actors and actresses, but
Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, abso-freaking-lutely one of the best performances of all time. What I want from Warner Brothers, and maybe they've done this and I just don't know, and I need to go find it and buy it, is I want to get every outtake that we have saved of Heath Ledger acting, every behind-the-scenes bit of Heath Ledger, because he's dead. I mean, we won't ever get a performance from him ever again. So, and this role, in a odd way, somewhat killed him. So, like, it would be nice to tribute his acting by releasing everything and allowing everyone to see the behind the scenes of how he worked. I understand he's a method actor. I think Daniel Day-Lewis is like a quasi method actor, if I remember correctly. But Heath Ledger like really took the method acting to the maximum. Method acting is actually quite dangerous in its history, and it's kind of exemplified in Heath Ledger's performance of The Dark Knight. Did he have to do that to get that performance? I don't know. I mean, many actors get performances without being method actors, so I have no idea. But in any case, legendary. Absolutely some of the best, most riveting. It's the movie that got me into cinema. Of course, it's going to have a special place in my heart. Anthony Hopkins in The Silence of the Lambs. Okay, so I agree with you. Great performance. However, he's just not enough in the movie because he's not the main character. He's the main villain, of course, but where he's the villain of the movie. And every scene he's in, he just eats up the screen. But I don't know if there's enough range and display as there is in the other two examples that I've seen in this list for me to be like, is it right after Heath Ledger's performance? Probably not. Meryl Streep in Sophie's Choice. I have not seen that, so I can't comment. Robert De Niro in Raging Bull. It's pretty good. So, I think 6 is still too much for me though, but it's pretty good. Ralph Fiennes in Schindler's List. I have Schindler's List. I have not watched it yet. It's a very long movie, so I have to set aside time to watch it. Marlon Brando in The Godfather. Legendary performance for sure. Definitely something that no one will ever forget in terms of his performance, his vocal intonations, his mannerisms. Yeah, I don't know if I have much to say. Like, it's very solid. Is 8? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'd still come up with 8 more, like, or at least 10 more that were better. But I can't get mad at you for putting 8. I'm at 8. Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Yes, it's very good. It's very good. I don't know if it'd be number 9 for me, but again, I'm not creating my own list, so I guess I'm expected to roast some of these, but I've got nothing to say.
Yeah, it's all seem pretty. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I recognize the names as all movies you liked a lot.
Yeah. Wow. Leonardo DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street. I hate that movie, but he did a great job acting in it, so I can't even get mad at that.
Oh, okay.
He was great in that film. So we got some honorable mentions, apparently. So DiCaprio in Shutter Island. Oh, absolutely. Shutter Island is one of the most underrated movies of all time. One of the most underrated Scorsese movies. One of the most underrated DiCaprio performances. Shutter Island and DiCaprio in Shutter Island, I would probably put above The Wolf of Wall Street for me. And that being said, to actually do an actual hot take during this segment, DiCaprio's performance in The Great Gatsby, hot take, is one of his best performances. He should have won the Oscar that year.
Was he nominated for it?
He was nominated, yeah.
What, Best Actor, or what was it?
Best Actor, yeah.
Okay.
He didn't get it. It was part of the meme days where it was like, when will DiCaprio get his Oscar? And then he never got
it. Right, yeah.
And he didn't get it for Great Gatsby. I think he should have gotten it. That's a hot take.
What did he get it for? I forget. I know it happened eventually.
For a movie I think he's much inferior in, which is the bear movie. What the heck is it called?
Snowpiercer?
No.
Is that the bear movie?
No, what the heck is the movie called? I've seen it.
There's snow, right? Is there snow in it?
Yeah, there's snow.
Okay. I got that part right. I know what you're talking about. I just don't know what. I don't know what it's called. Let's look it up.
Yeah, my brain is farting. We're gonna get this right.
Yeah.
Revenant, The Revenant.
Oh, The Revenant. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Solid movie, solid performance, but it was clearly Oscar bait movie for him to get the Best Actor award because it's pretty much just all him.
He got a best performance by an actor in a leading role in 2005.
For what? For Titanic?
The Aviator.
Of The Aviator. No, he won the Oscar for that?
Oh, nominee. Oh, I said nominee.
Nominee.
Okay,
yeah. I was going to say.
He's only won one Oscar. I just realized. Oh, wow. That's the only one he's ever won.
Yeah, he's great in everything.
Interesting.
So that's the meme. The Aviator is a great movie as well. Okay, so another best honorable mention is De Niro. Oh, no, we said that already. Peter O'Toole in Lawrence of Arabia. I have yet to see that, but it's definitely high up on my list. Edward Norton in American History X. Have not seen that as well. Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan in Philadelphia. I have not seen Philadelphia, but I have seen Forrest Gump and Saving Private Ryan. And I don't think I would put those in my top 20, but they're really good performances.
Forrest Gump is the only one I've seen here.
Nice, yeah. Forrest Gump I would actually put above Saving Private Ryan, as I think the team cast Saving Private Ryan was the overall winner, whereas in Forrest Gump it's more specifically Tom Hanks. Morgan Freeman in The Shawshank Redemption and Seven. You know what? I think Morgan Freeman's performance in this is probably a really hot take. Now that I think about it, I think Morgan Freeman's performance in The Shawshank Redemption is fine. I just don't think it's anything special. and maybe that's a
Ooh.
because the Shawshank Redemption is like one of those untouchable movies. You know what I mean? It's like you can't say anything
Yeah.
bad about it, you know, like or else like you don't know anything about cinema. And I think it's a great movie. So don't get me wrong. I'm not pooping on the Shawshank Redemption. I just don't think Morgan Freeman's performance, while it felt like a good casting, it didn't feel like he had exhausted all his acting muscles portraying the role. But legendary actor anyway. Morgan Freeman's amazing, so no shade on him. That's it for that. Let's see.
He also,
here.
I don't know if you noticed on the bottom, there's an edit where he gave another list, but he said, "quote I guess people aren't happy with how basic my list is. So if you want a slightly less, albeit still mainstream list, here you go." And the funny thing is, he adds Interstellar. I'm like, that is very mainstream.
Oh, I see. Real quick. Okay, yeah. He moved Shutter Island up. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
It doesn't really make sense that, like, how is it still your top? Because Shutter Island should be number 3 then, right?
Yeah.
If the top, it doesn't really make sense. I don't know how Interstellar inserted itself there, but
I like it was Matthew McWhatever.
yeah, no one knows how to spell that.
I think Matthew McConaughey's performance in Interstellar is great, but I don't think it needs to be like up here. That's okay. He did a good job. That's all. Jude Law in The Talented Mr. Ripley. Heard of it? Haven't seen it. Jim Carrey in. Oh yeah. That's actually a good point.
What is that? What is ESOTS?
It's Oh gosh. It's actually it's not a comedy.
Eternal Sunshine of the
Yes.
Spotless Mind? I've never heard of that in my life. What the heck is that?
Great movie. Fantastic movie. Also a movie that got me into cinema. Beautiful movie. And so yeah, I think I wouldn't put it at number 6, but if you're making like a edgy list, like that's respectable. Brad Pitt 7, haven't seen it yet, although I have the movie. Mulholland Drive, haven't seen it yet. Inglourious Bastard. Oh yeah, wait just a minute. We didn't put Christoph Waltz at number 3? Are you kidding me? Like one of the
I guess not.
one of the best, some of the best scenes in cinema are just from that movie, and just scenes of Christoph Waltz absolutely shredding it. Talk about an actor who literally apparently only can make good movies with Tarantino, and every other movie he's in like no one sees. It's very bizarre. Nicole, the others I haven't seen. Okay, cool. Next here, let's see. So this one will be from you, Nathan. So what did you find for me?
That's a good question. Oh, here. Movies that did too much showing and not enough telling is the title from R. Movies. So it's pretty short. I'll read out the entire thing. It says, quote, "So we all know the phrase show don't tell. Basically, it is better for a film to visualize its exposition rather than dumping it all via dialogue. However, there needs to be a balance, as exposition done via dialogue isn't inherently bad, and depending on context, can be necessary. Which brings me to this thought. Were there any movies that did too much showing and not enough telling, to the film's detriment?"
Wow, this is a topic I've talked about probably a lot, a long time ago on the podcast, but I've talked about it a lot. If you look up any of the screenwriting episodes, there's an episode called Screenwriting 101, and I've probably talked about it in relation to a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, this showing not telling trope is way overused. In fact, you'll see it get absolutely overused in student films, ironically, right? Like, ironically, like, show not tell, okay, I can do that. And they just keep everything so cryptic and just like, and then it comes out as an experimental film that they didn't even mean to make. Yeah, it's a trope. Now, what do we even mean by telling and showing? I think that's like the biggest problem, right? Because I think you can tell even not through dialogue, and you can show through dialogue. Let me give you some examples. Showing through dialogue would be like subtext, right? So like someone says like, Nicole, I really like you, but in the context of the scene, that bit of uh, dialogue might have a bunch of subtext behind it, like that we may not know. Maybe it's the intonation, maybe it's the expression, maybe it's the way it's shot, maybe it's just a wider context in the plot. Whatever it is, that dialogue can carry subtext that is showing you something about that character that's not as simple as the information of, Nicole, I like you. Like it's not about that simple conveyance of information to the audience or whatever, right? Um, so that would be showing through dialogue, and telling not through dialogue would be like, here's a very good example, like an establishing shot, where you have, basically just the only reason you have the shot is informational to establish the geometry of the space. Here we are outside of this place that you should know because we've seen this place before. That's exposition. That's exposition. You're giving the audience pretty utilitarian information. Now, is either of those, like, is that even bad? Like, is telling in that way even bad? No, absolutely not. It's not bad in and of itself. It's just that people have a tendency to tell instead of show when they're left unguided, until you tell them show, don't tell, and then they just do the exact opposite. It's wrong. So if you told some random person, here, go write a screenplay, and you gave them no education at all, they'd probably tell way too much in the dialogue. Probably, that'd probably be their tendency. They'd want to make sure the audience doesn't get lost in the story. They don't trust their audience the way that a mature screenwriter would trust their audience to understand subtext and all the things. They don't trust their cinematography. They think only in narrow-minded writing, as if someone's going to be reading it instead of watching it. They don't think in terms of like how other parts of filmmaking could add to the story, and so fill gaps for you without having to tell anything. And so they tend to write stupid dialogue like, look, Nicole, I was reading a book yesterday, and on page 3, I read this beautiful thing where you are a rose, and my mom died with a rose in her hand, and by the way, I like you, or something that's just like, we have to get the information that it's related to a rose and the mom, like, out of the character's mouth, because you don't trust the audience to just get that, like, from just visual symbolism of, let's say,
it's like
roses.
A children's show.
Yeah, exactly. That would be bad, and so people often go to the opposite, where they just like show a rose for 10 minutes and with no extra content. And they're like, we're showing, we're not telling. This is so deep. It's like, it's not that deep.
It's just showing for the sake of showing and not showing for any like higher purpose. Exactly.
So some examples of movies that do this badly. The one that comes immediately to mind is an Oscar-nominated movie and winning movie in some categories, The Power of the Dog. I reviewed it on the channel. I think I can't remember. It was definitely in the Oscar reviews one. So if you just look up Oscar on the channel, you'll find my review of The Power of the Dog. It's a terrible movie, in my opinion. I think everyone who is saying otherwise is, well, I won't call you a name. It's the epitome of showing way too much and not saying anything at all. It's like, look at me. I'm so deep. Look at this, like this, in this scene. Look at this sexual angst. Look at it. You can't get it at all. You don't understand. You don't understand how deep this is. It's like, okay, no. What we should do instead is cut half an hour off the runtime and add a soliloquy to the end that is a poetic discourse on whatever the heck you want to make your movie about, right? In the case of the Power of the Dog. Why not cut out all the unnecessary showing that is boring everyone to death because it's not adding anything to their life, and just tell us what you mean at the end of the movie with a nice, beautiful voiceover soliloquy. How about that? And that brings me to the last point I want to make about this. If you study Shakespeare, at all. I don't, and I'm not pretending I study Shakespeare. But I'd like to take writing principles from Shakespeare because I think he's is legitimately, at least of story structure, is pretty much the goat. He structures stories immaculately, and he often ends with a soliloquy, and oftentimes there's characters monologuing to the audience, and they're telling a lot, and or when characters like unrealistically spill the beans of how they're feeling on the inside to someone else, when like real life that would never happen. You know what I mean? Like that's all telling. That's telling you, the audience, how they feel, but it's in poetic, beautiful discourse. It's done beautifully. It's in of itself beautiful. So go look at Shakespeare. He doesn't live by the mantra "show not tell" in a strict sense, I guess. There's, like most good storytelling, there is more showing than there is telling. But it's, and actually, I shouldn't even say that. I'm sure you could think of examples where there's more telling than showing. It's still good. I don't know, but it's not bad to tell your audience what to think or what you mean. More straightforward, and I do that in my own writing as well. Okay. Let's see. Fight Club's another good example of telling at the end of the movie and in the middle of the movie as well. There's just straight telling. It's a Shakespearean soliloquy. Okay. Let's see here. This next one, I guess, will be from me. Copy link. And paste. Okay, so I don't remember. Oh, okay, this is about Avatar, so kind of a nice segue. The number one complaint I've seen over the years about Avatar is its simple, recognizable story. But I would argue this was one of the reasons it was successful and was absolutely necessary for it to be. Then they talk about their experience of rewatching it and how good the 3D is and how great the technical cinema is in general. And that's pretty much.
It's quite good. I haven't seen the movie once again, but I've seen clips, whatever, some trailer, whatever. Looks good.
Yes, it's a movie that like highbrow, and I'm sure there's some people who've listened to the podcast and be like, "Well, you're one of those highbrow people." I promise you, I'm not. Like,
what is highbrow? What is what?
Like the tea and crumpet type crowd.
Oh, okay.
I'm too good for Avatar. I'm too good to enjoy this. This simple. Whatever. There's a crowd like there's a crowd like that in film critic circles. They think they're cool because they think they're edgy. And maybe I'm projecting, I don't know. But and I'm sure people will think that about me. But I love movies that can fit into a classic mold, but just do it in a completely refreshing, familiar. And here's what it is, frankly. There are certain story structures that are just straight up primal. I've said this on the show before, and I've talked about writing many times on the show. There's certain, like, the hero's journey is, like, primal. You find it with, like, variation, of course, but, like, overall tone and tenor, overall beats that are hit are roughly the same. You find it cross-culture, you find it throughout history, hero's journey, right? You find it in the Greek heroes, right? And you'll find it, well, actually, if you want to get really deep with it, you'll find that it flipped on its head in the Gospels, in the Bible. You'll find the hero's journey, essentially, the end of the hero's journey is completely subverted with the Gospels. Think about that. Anyway, so yeah, it's pretty primal. And then you go to like other things like the obsessed artist story, which has been done a billion million times, or obsessed person story, I guess you could say, just generically. The story of obsession. It's spiral, destruction, and then sometimes realization on the part of the person, sometimes realization on the part of the other characters, and sometimes realization on the part of the audience, or some mix of that, depending on how it's constructed. But you put Black Swan in there, you can put Whiplash in there, you can put a whole bunch of movies in that arc, and so on and so forth. Romeo and Juliet, the lovers that could not be story. It's just an archetype. So like, these primal stories, and in this one's Pocahontas, which what do we call that one? Is this the lovers that cannot be? I guess basically this is Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, actually it is. This is Romeo and Juliet. Yeah. And it's the same as every other Romeo and Juliet story, except it's not, because it's not Romeo and Juliet. And nothing is Romeo and Juliet, right? Like, you don't watch a rendition of Romeo and Juliet and be like, yeah, that's sucky. Like, you don't watch West Side Story and be like, wow, I've seen this before. This is exactly Romeo and Juliet. Like, I mean, I guess you could say that much more for West Side Story, but it's the same as all of those. It's Pocahontas, However, what's the deal with it? Why do people eat it up? It's because it's primal. It speaks to some of the deepest core of humanity. In this case, it would be love. Like, love is such a deep, in this case, romantic love, friendship. What does romantic love in terms of the transcendence over national boundaries, right? We have that in Pocahontas. We have that in Romeo and Juliet, because you have the two families. You have that in West Side Story, you have the two gangs. You have that in Pocahontas because you have the European and the Native American, right? It's the transcendence of love over these lesser affiliations, right? And so, I mean, if you want to get really philosophical and technical with it, you could say that this sort of I guess giving of oneself to another in the sort of marital sense is a much higher on the virtue hierarchy than your filial duty to your patriots, right? To your neighbors. Not that there is no duty, but it's completely subordinate. That duty is completely subordinate to the way that you give yourself in love to another person. Anyway, getting deep with it. But that is never appealing to that, to me, what is a objective, moral, hierarchical, good structure. Appealing to that good structure is never going to be bad. If you do it right, it's never going to be bad. Why would it be bad? It's important to us to repeat these same themes over and over again, because it's never old. It's never old to us. We live it every day, So it's never stale. I mean, if you watch these like 5 in a row, it might get stale. But you watch these once a year. You're like, you watch a different one once a year, and you're like, yeah, I mean, I could explore this theme again next year. That's totally fine. And so yeah, that's my takeaway from this. And Avatar fits the mold very, very, very well. It is literally Pocahontas, with very beautiful graphics, very beautiful cinematography. The only 3D I would ever endorse, as this person has somewhat alluded to as well in their thing, is it better in 3D? I don't really know. I haven't seen it in 3D in so long. I couldn't tell you, but is it actually worthy of a watch in 3D? Yeah, I actually would say so. That's probably because that's its native format, and it was probably easier to make it immersive properly in that native format. So yeah, and so I'm excited to see what the next films have to do. James Cameron is a beast. He does this every single time. Titanic, lovers that can't be. He did it again. This time rich versus poor is the transcending line in Titanic. Transformers is hero's journey. Transformers, sorry, not Transformers.
I was saying, you did Transformers too? I thought that was the other dude. I forgot his name. But...
No.
Michael Bay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Terminator. That's what I meant to say. Terminator. Oh. Terminator Hero's Journey. What else did James Cameron do? Basically, that's like his thing. Like, he just does like these primal structures, and guess what? He makes tons of money doing it because he knows how to do them really well. Probably because he understands the human spirit quite well. Okay, so that's my diatribe about that. And then, should I do a last one? I have a last one, I think. Or wait, do I not?
That was it. No.
Oh yeah! Wow. Up to an act. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Those are long segments, though. Long arguing for segments.
Yes. That was really fun. I love it, especially when we get hot takes from the audience, and you could do that on Discord. It's happened before, so it can happen again. But yeah, those are my thoughts. If you disagree with anything I say, like I said, you can go to the Discord, mixedmediapodcast.com. There's a link to the Discord. There's also a link in the description somewhere, I'm sure, where you can go check out the Discord and tell me how wrong I am about anything I said. You hate primal stories. You think that you're too good for them. Whatever, that's fine. You could come tell me I'm wrong. And yeah, that's pretty much what I got from my segment. And that's it for the night, pretty much.
Yep.
Cool. So, last bit of housekeeping. Would like to shout out 909 Crime and Rob Sharma for supporting us for $5 a month on Locals. You can support us as well at mixedmedia.locals.com. It really does help. One big thing that is probably going to be happening. I was planning on announcing it this show, but then I didn't have time to put together some stuff. I want to get a panel together on AI art, and I probably won't happen next week. But a large panel, us three. I was thinking maybe the Catholic Game Reviews people, because there maybe one or two of them, if they're interested, can hop on. Maybe Resh can hop on as well. Some people we've already interacted with that were pretty cool, and have like an AR art panel because there's a lot of controversy around it, and not controversy too, just other interesting topics to talk about. And in that vein, I was going to announce an additional perk related to that that I've sort of figured out a way to do, but it's going to have to wait until that panel happens. So, that's to say...
All right. Get hyped.
One thing you can do is you might be thinking, well, I don't want to give you $5 a month until you tell me what that perk is, right? And that's totally reasonable. That's totally fine. However, mixedmedia.locals.com is free, technically. You can join the community for free. So you can just go to mixedmedia.locals.com or go to mixedmediapodcast.com and click the locals link and create an account if you don't have a locals account already, and hit join the community, and it's completely free. You're in the community. However, you won't get to see premium posts and you won't get the perks, of course, and that's completely reasonable. But what you can get is a notification when we do roll out that perk. So if you want to just know when that perk comes out, you can join the community for free. And hopefully I'll have announcements for our locals page in general, because I think there's a lot of special things that can happen, particularly in 2023 going forward. Stuff that I talked about a while ago when I was just chatting about future stuff for the podcast. So yeah, that's my call to stay tuned. And with that, I'll bid you adieu and good night.
Nice. Thanks for watching.
Always do this. All right, here we go.
Look, tell a man no trouble. I don't want beef, man. I just want vibes. Big man like me, no need for the telephone hype. I got too much getting online. One rule, then I'm on site. Wrong move, I bet they gon' ride. No need for the telephone hype, nah. No need for the snoozing. Big whip outside, I'm cruising. Big stick inside, no losing. Better watch out for the snake and Judas is. Don't ask them who this is. I bet they know what I'm moving in. I bet I show it into